Alright, we're going to make a vacuum mold of a Girl Scout emblem here. So to begin with, we'll open a new file. Now on this new file, what we'll do is go over to front plane. And there's nothing, magical about front plane or top plane, just it's the one I'm choosing to use right now. It's the plane I'm just choosing to use currently. Alright, and on my front plane, I'm going to go up into Tools, Sketch Tools, and in my Sketch Tools, I'm going to come down here to Sketch Picture. And that's where I can insert an image. There's my Girl Scout logo that I liked. I'm going to insert him. And you see it came in kind of... One nice thing is it came in right here on the origin. So that's actually good. That positions it. But it looks like it came in huge. I actually have very little idea how big this thing is. Until I look over here, 31 inches across. That's a little bit bigger than I want. I would like my mold to be about 4 inches from side to side here. So what I'm going to do is back this off to, let's say 4.25 inches. And as long as I have this lock aspect ratio button clicked, when I hit enter here, now it shrinks everything down to the height of this thing's around 3 inches now. Let's see, yeah, just a shave over 4 inches. So that's going to work out good for me. Be sure that lock aspect ratio is on, or else you'll get some really strange results. Okay, and I'm going to close this sketch because I've got everything on there I want. I don't want to clutter this up with any other sort of geometry. I just want my picture on there and call that good. Okay, now I'm going to go to Sketch, Front Plane, and I'm going to open another sketch. Now I have this little shortcut key here that allows me just to slide up slightly to the right and get a sketch. If you don't happen to have that, don't worry about it. You'll have a sketch icon you can click. So now I'm on Sketch 2, and what I want to do on Sketch 2 is drape some splines around the outside of this shape. So I come up here to Splines, and I need a starting point, and really probably as good a starting point as any is right in this little crevice in here. So I'm going to start there, just click in there, and then just run around the outside of this thing, clicking from time to time. And there's nothing magical about how many times you click or don't click. You gain some control on where your spline goes by having lots of click points, but it's also less smooth, if that makes sense. Because every one of those points, it's going to fit the spline through there. And I actually picked this object because it's a little bit misshapen, which is going to add a certain feel to our object that I'm after here. Actually, I don't want it too perfect on this one. And if I double click in this little crevice, that'll end my spline for me at that place. Now it's a little bit it's a little blocky and such in here. I'm going to right click and change my cursor to select. Now my spline shows up a little bit better. It's not as smooth as I would like it in here. The original is not smooth in there, so I'm going to grab this point and tug him off to the side here. And I found to get them to budge sometimes you have to really pull on them and then come back to where you want to be. That's a little smoother in there. And then the other thing you can do is if it's not getting smooth enough, one trick you can do is actually click on the control point itself and just hit the delete key, and it will remove that point. And now I've smoothed this curve a little bit because it has less control points to actually fit through. Let's talk about control points just a little bit here too. If I click on my spline, notice all these arrows. That controls the weight of the spline and the angle or the vector that it's coming off at. So I can adjust this by grabbing either the point, the arrowhead, and the triangle. And there's some differences in there. If you get into your help menu here for spline, just click on this little guy, and the help menu brings up some ideas. Let's do that search. Spline tools. Editing splines, that'd be an excellent one to hit. We just double click on that, and it goes into which should you use, which button should you click here. You know, do you want the end? Do you want the control polygon? What do the spline handles do? And it gives you all this information plus little movies. If you just click on the movie, it gives you a quick little video that shows what happens if you pull on the point. To get out of the movie, just click off to the side. And then here is what each of the parts of the handle do. For instance, this one controls both the weighting and the direction vector. You could grab either tip on this point. If you just grab the arrowhead, then that just moves the weight, but it doesn't allow you to budge the arrowhead sideways. So, and this allows you just to move the vector, but not the weight. So, okay, well, enough about handles for right now. And of course, one handlebar affects another handlebar, so you have to be a little bit careful there. Alright, back to our drawing. I'm going to add in some more splines. I'm just going to take off where I left off here. So spline, get him right on it. I want him glowing orange because I want this spline to start on top of that other one. So click there, come off. See, there's that little dip in here that I may want to come back later and get. Now you can delete control points, or you can add control points too. So if you don't have quite enough or going right where you want them, you can add some more in later. So this is kind of a quick and dirty sketching here. And again, just double click inside that little area. That gives me a nice place where I can start my next point. And down here where it gets sharp and pointy, I'm going to add several control points just to make sure I control how pointy that gets. I can zoom in or out as far as I like. It's whatever's comfortable for your eyes. Okay, light up now. It's really subtle. It's just turning a little bit darker shade of black than it had been. Let's see if we can get it here. Boink. Just turns black. That means I'm on it. And you can see it gets quite pixelated, so you're really just, you don't want to get it right in on top of each pixel there. Well, maybe you do, but that may be a little extreme. Zoom in and out as much as you need to get the detail, the level of detailing you want. It's really easy to go overboard here, so I don't recommend doing too much. Okay, And we have our splines in place. So we'd like to see what how smooth our splines are without this picture in the background. We can just come over here to sketch 1, click on it, and this little set of eyeglasses pops up. We can hide sketch 1 and kind of see how smooth our splines are, or in this case how smooth they aren't. Like down here, this is maybe a little blockier, or a little bit. I might want to change that. Okay, so I have control over turning this on and off, and that's why I put that picture on its own sketch and just left it there, so that I can turn it on and off when I want to. Okay, so I like my sketch more or less where it's at, and I'm going to agree to it. And I'll come up here to features and go extruded boss base. And I didn't move anything there. That was SolidWorks doing that for me. I want this to be about 5/8 of an inch of an extrusion. So right in here in your distance, I'm just going to put 5 divided by 8. Let it do the math for me. Oh, that is 625. Nice. And there's a couple ways to do that. You can put in a distance, or you can grab this little guy here, and notice he's giving you a ruler or scale to go off of. You can change what the increment on that is. You could make this quite large. I don't recommend getting too carried away there, because it gives us problems later when we try to add some draft. All molds need draft, and I'm going to turn on the draft option here. And then recommended is 3 degrees. I think at least 3 degrees. And that puts a little angle on this guy. I'm going to agree to this, and then I'm going to shift to a normal view, so normal to this. And if we look inside here, you see how it has shrunk this face down a little bit. This wall is at a 3 degrees. Let's turn him on his side a little bit here. It's narrower at the top than it is the bottom. That will allow us to get our mold back out of the plastic that we're going to cast around it on our vacuum form. And this would be an excellent time to save, because we've got quite a bit of work into this guy.